The gaming industry has lost its mind. I believe that, and I think most of us honestly agree with that assessment.
Recently, a nasty little conversation has reared its ugly head yet again, and it's that the video game industry believes that it's time for games to be $100 or more. Mark my words, if this is the path that the industry chooses to follow, this will likely lead to the largest collapse this industry has ever seen. They think that the layoffs, closures, and canceled games are bad now. You haven't seen anything yet. The players already have a long list of reasons as to why not to buy games today, and you want to go and add an even bigger reason to that list? Likely for the vast majority of players, the reason that will be at the very top of their list. You know, for years now, we've heard about how they think that the video game industry bubble is going to burst because there's just been so much investor interest over the years. The wages have increased, the cost of development and marketing has gone up, and the long development cycles that these games are in, 7 to 10 years in some cases, is just not making these games financially viable. These big AAA, these big shiny AAA games are too expensive to make for such little return. So they've gotten themselves thinking, well, how do we fix this issue? What's the actual problem here? I mean, it can't be that our, leadership is incompetent. It can't be the slop that we've been delivering to the customers. It can't be
the slop is always right. The slop must flow. The slop tastes perfect.
That we've been over-investing in these projects. It has to.
Remember, if you don't like a game, don't worry about it. It's not going to affect you. What do you care about? A little bit of Vogue here, a little bit of DEI there. What do you care? What do you care? Why do you have to say bad things about it? What's wrong with you? Why are you so negative? God, I hate those people so much. In any case, wow, of all things, it's the $100 game discussion. And I have to say, boys, you may already know my opinion on this, but I want that $100 price tag for gaming, okay? I want that. There is gonna be a reckoning. And that reckoning is probably happening with a $100 price tag. I already talked about this. Financially, this makes literally almost no sense. It only makes sense for the, Ubisofts, Bethesdas, and BioWares who make AAA franchises that cost between 250 to 400 million and then sell a whopping 1 million copies, and then some woke-haired, purple-haired lunatic on Twitter said, oh, it's a success! Belgard is a success! How stupid do you need to be? A franchise that previously sold around 10 to 15 million copies now struggles to breach the 1.5 million mark, and you're like that, oh, it's a success. As you can see, Vogue is profitable. These evil chuds, these Nazis, they don't know what they're talking about. Vogue is money. Shut the fuck up. Get out of my office. Get the hell out. What's wrong with you? Are you retarded? Oh man, I hate these people so much. It's absolute insanity. They're so self-righteous. It's just putrid. It makes me want to physically vomit the absolute amount of self-righteousness that these people insert themselves. But yeah, raising the price for some kind of loser company like BioWare, Ubisoft, or Bethesda, that would actually increase their profits. Not a lot, but kind of slightly, because the math is like this. Okay? You can expect that any of these AAA games are going to sell probably roughly 1 million copies. And it doesn't matter the price. Is it 40, 50, 60, 70, or 100? What am I supposed to do? Can you hear that? Yeah, you can probably hear that. What am I supposed to do? There you go. If they raise the price for that and they know they're going to sell 1 million copies, well, they just literally made 50% more money. For everyone else, it's an absolute bust and travesty and catastrophe. But for a failing AAA publisher that made Railguard, you just made 50% more money for one game sale. After that, obviously, it's never going to happen again. My favorite example is, look at Avowed currently. A game absolutely rife with controversy of the we need to own Elon Musk. The dialogue seems stupid. The combat seems okay. You know, and the progression trees in combat and whatnot also kind of seem okay. But everything else seems kind of like borderline. Oh, look at this. This was made for people with 70 IQ. What a time to be alive. Okay? What's the main audience here? Sub-Saharan Africa? I didn't say anything, YouTube, okay? Listen, it's statistics. I just quoted a statistic. Okay? It happens. In any case, you know, and they're gonna get wrecked. Not even because the game seems woke. No, Avowed is gonna get completely wrecked because it's a double A game made by a studio that is only known for making one good game, and that is Fallout New Vegas. And after that, it's been like underwhelming garbage constantly. And they're asking $70 from you, $100 with the premium editions and whatnot. It's not gonna happen. Avowed is destined to fail just because it costs $70 from a AA developer that no one cares about. And now, AAA got away with this because they had the notoriety. They had the knowledge of the gamers that they exist. But the moment it's $100, your typical AAA game is gonna go absolutely bust instantaneously because 70 is already a lot. But 100, that is literally a reckoning.
It has to be that the customer's not paying enough money. That has to be the solution to this. So today what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the industry's long list of excuses as to why we need to be paying $100 or more. We're going to watch on as journalists seal clap the industry's death march into oblivion, and we're going to talk about why I think the players aren't going to buy. This isn't the first time we've had to have this conversation. Back in 2023, Capcom's president came forward at an event in Japan and explained that video game prices were far too low, even after the price hike up to $70, explaining that video game development costs are 100 times more expensive than they've ever been, and games haven't followed inflation like other industries. And
This is absolute bull, by the way. Games have followed inflation to a certain degree. Because you have your $70 poor cheap person tag, but at the same time, you know, your modern day PS5 Pro Concord Tax Edition costs $700 instead of what it previously cost. By the way, these very accurate. And all of these games have some kind of 5-day early access, only $40 extra. And, you know, they cost $100 plus on average. For example, Diablo 4 basically, in my opinion, sold zero pre-order 3 days early copies. Well, it sold some, but I would bet that 80% of the people who bought Diablo 4 when it released got the $100 edition with the 3 days play early access. The price has gone up. It's a lie. It's just a lie. Plus, I'm not even talking about the microtransactions that they put in every game, even single-player games. Microtransactions, you know, because why not?
He's not wrong. In 1990, a standard game would cost around $50. Adjust for inflation, that would be closer to $100 today. Yet, even with the price hikes in 2020 up to $70 for AAA games, the reality is that the industry just hasn't kept pace. Over the same time period, from 1990s to today, wages, marketing, and development costs have all skyrocketed. Game studios are spending exponentially more money than they ever did in the 90s or early 2000s, so the profit made on the sale of a single game has shrunk year over year. If we were to adjust in line with inflation from the early days of gaming to today, AAA games would be priced.
This also doesn't account for the fact that there are now more gamers than ever, so there is a much wider audience in the market to sell a game to. This by itself, by the way, completely makes up for it.
Well over $100, maybe even $150 to be able to match today's financial realities. Now, all of that makes sense with nuance removed. However, we don't live in a world without nuance. The fact of the matter is that the vast majority of games that are released today make far more money past the point of sale. something that didn't exist back when games were being made in the 90s and early 2000s. While they still had merchandise, toys, and clothing and other different things that they could sell, now today, games have DLC, loot boxes, gacha and gambling mechanics, microtransactions, expansions, collector's editions, and more. I'm sorry, but you can't convince me that video game companies aren't making enough money today, or there aren't enough ways for them to make money. However, games journalist and industry analyst Matthew Ball are going to try to tell us otherwise. In an article written by Eddie Mackich titled GTA 6 could cost as much as $100, some hope. Analyst clarifies comments.
Oh, we actually watched this. Did Legendary Drops watch my video and then make this? I'm so proud. Finally, he learns a little bit about, finance. He actually kind of talks about finance a lot. It's really strange.
If Take-Two raises prices to $80 or more, other publishers could apparently follow suit. Eddie writes, veteran investment analyst and researcher Matthew Ball of Opinion has released a gargantuan 219-page report about the state of video gaming in 2025, and some of the
Remember, the more pages you have in your report, the less likely anyone is gonna read it, so no one's gonna ever call you out on your bullshit because there's simply too much to read.
Presentation looks at how the video game industry could possibly grow in 2025. In a section titled How Player, Playtime, and Player Spend Might Return to Growth, Ball mentioned a variety of opportunities, including Grand Theft Auto 6 costing as much as $100 when it launches this year. Ball said that there is hope among some in the game market that Take-Two will price GTA 6 at $80 or even $100, which could prove as a turning point for the video game industry. This could break a key price barrier and allow developers to raise their prices as well, he said. Before this, a Baldur's Gate 3 developer said a GTA 6 could prompt a shift to more expensive games if Take-Two decides to price it above $70. In a series of follow-up posts, Ball shared further key updates, including how
God, I hope so hard. I mean, again, this is the small push that we probably need to completely destroy companies like Bethesda. Honestly, Blizzard. Again, I'm currently for the Blizzard downfall because it's getting shreked. Path of Exile 2 is destroying Diablo 4. Well, this Diablo 4 already destroyed Path of Exile itself. By the way, I played Season 7, the Season of the Witch, yesterday. 2 hours, I'm fucking done. I'm done. I'm not even level 60, okay? I'm level 30, and I'm completely done. It's just, to enjoy Diablo 4 at this point, you need to have brain damage, okay? You can't. It's enjoyable for the roughly first 10 minutes of the game, and after that, the complete apathy seeps in because you're not looking at anything. Everything's basic. God knows what's happening. I don't even honestly know what I'm doing in the Vig zones. I'm just looking at the mini-map, and if there's a thingamajig, I go there, click it, and maybe get a reward. I have no fucking clue at this point. It was just so brain damaged. I can't. It's just beyond brain damage. Okay? Marvel Rivals is obviously destroying... well, it already pretty much destroyed Overwatch. Not that, again, Overwatch did not destroy itself. And World of Warcraft's numbers are down so hard it's not even funny, okay? The new expansion, the whatever, is complete disaster. Well, it's going to be a complete disaster because the previous expansion's end has bigger player numbers than the current newest expansion's launch, which is insanely bad. Like, holy shit, that is... When an expansion launches, graph go like this, not graph keep going like this. That is insanity. This is Warlords of Draenor hype levels.
GTA 4 was priced at $90 in real terms, with GTA 5 costing $83. Ball added, your rent is up, movie tickets have doubled, minimum wage, Spotify, Netflix, bus fare, gas, etc. Indeed, nearly all categories are up, not just flat in real terms, while games are at record lows. He went on to say Rockstar's cost isn't sufficient to set the price, but the argument games should be the only thing never to adjust for inflation, and thus be, in the strictest terms, worth less every year, is not healthy either or a good argument, in my opinion. Ball was not making a...
Oh, that's a stupid thing to say. Okay? Are you telling me that the games need to cost more while the industry keeps making more and more record-breaking numbers of money? Get the fuck out.
Prediction himself that GTA 6 would cost $100, only that there is a belief in the market by some that it could happen. For his money, Ball said that GTA 6 will cost $70. I can't believe I have to say this, but customers only ever care about inflation when said inflation affects them and their money. $100 is $100. Whether it's 1990 or 2025, no matter how you spin it, what excuses you make, or what numbers you point to, the vast majority of people just flat out cannot afford those prices and will have a far more difficult time justifying buying games day one or buying games at
I disagree with that. I think people can afford these prices. I think people are just smarter with their money. We have been burned so many times that it is time.
all.
It is time to pay attention to what we're buying. It's no longer the glory days of not caring about anything that we buy. Now it's like, oh, am I gonna buy this? Well, let me look at this. Oh, look at that. A female main protagonist that looks like a male. Yeah. For some reason, I'm thinking I'm not gonna buy that. Oh, look at that. A game that doesn't have that, but there's strangely a lot of DEI-looking things. And you buy it, you get burned. People are afraid to get burned, okay? Not happening.
My friends with kids buy maybe 1-2 games a year, or they just spend their money on indie games because they're far cheaper, they tend to have more replay value, and they don't take as long to complete. My friends without kids, well, they work too much and they can't even justify buying a $70 game, and they just choose to play free-to-play games instead. Gen Z is so maladjusted and ambivalent due to the pandemic that they can't even find work, and even if they do, they can't hold jobs for long. Heck, the vast majority of them are choosing to become NEETs out of choice. Who are
the American NEET thing. I read about this. Pretty funny.
they planning to sell these games to, and where are they going to find the money?
Also based, okay? The fact that any boomer who comes and says, "Oh, you need to work harder," okay, maybe true. Maybe people need to actually put. There's two sides to this. On one hand, new people, young people are not putting in any effort for work. They just think that everything should be put to them on a silver platter, aka American communism problem. But on the second hand, you have boomers who think that the younger generations should literally work 24/7 every single day for the rest of their lives to afford a flat that you need to rent for 80% of your income. Eat literal copy paper from your workplace that you stole, and have like this much space to turn around in your flat. While they could easily do any job that was not at the time when they were growing up, when they were young, they could have done almost any job that required no college experience, no nothing, and they could easily buy themselves a new house in 10 years of saving, while having a wife that doesn't work and 2 to 3 kids. Get the fuck out. Okay? No. The idea that you think that we, the newer generations, need to work harder is just absurd. You had it. Everything essentially for you was actually put on a silver platter. The amount of effort that you had to put in for the amount of, well, literally generational wealth that you acquired is insanely non-existent.
Ball mentions how GTA 4 was priced at $90 in real terms. He's talking about how the price of GTA, adjusting for inflation, was priced above inflation at the time, making $59.99 feel like $90 at the time. And that's why it should be completely fine for games to be $90 or $100 today. Here's the other thing they're missing. $100 isn't just a number. It's a cultural touchstone. It's a psychological threshold that makes consumers think twice before making a purchase. Crossing that $100 mark makes a statement. It's saying that this product is now a luxury tier item, something that isn't just an impulse buy, but an investment, whether it's worth it or not. And that's when that feeling
$70 was already an investment, honestly.
hits the hardest. It's not just about the price tag, it's about the perception of value and what people can reasonably spend in an already stretched economy. Look, a $100 purchase feels like it demands a justification. I can't tell you guys how many times I had to overcome dread when I was wanting to upgrade from a $30 webcam and a $50 microphone. For many, this is going to be a breaking point, the moment where games start to feel more like an exclusive club for the people that can afford it and less like a pastime accessible to anyone who loves the medium. It's a barrier that not only reflects inflation, but also sets the tone for how the industry views its audience, one where only a select few can afford or truly engage with what the industry has to offer. I just hate how disingenuous all of this is. Ball says the prices for all things are up, and the idea that games need to stay the same price isn't fair, conveniently ignoring the fact that while the upfront price of games has remained relatively stable, the way that games are monetized has changed drastically. In-game purchases, microtransactions, season passes, battle passes, and expensive collector's editions have all become the norm. Game companies have found new, more aggressive ways to squeeze every dollar from the player far beyond the original price tag. A $60 to $70 game is no longer just that, it's an entry point. To truly experience whatever the game has to offer, players are often pressured into spending far more in additional content. Customers aren't just paying more, they're paying far beyond what they originally bargained for, and that's what should be addressed, not just the price tag on the box. And what's even more funny about all of this is the fact that the writer of this article actually ended up using the Baldur's Gate 3 developers' words out of context. And by the way, if you guys have paid attention at all to journalism over the last couple of years, they've been using Baldur's Gate 3 developers out of context constantly because they think it adds some type
That's why I don't read game articles, jeez.
of emotional weight to whatever their words are. Like, oh, look, here's this great developer that made a game that everybody loves saying that they agree with us, when 9 times out of 10, their words are completely out of context. They used it here saying that everybody's just waiting for GTA to increase the price, acting like the Baldur's Gate 3 developers want GTA to increase the price, when the original tweet that they had made was talking about how much they hated artificial price structures and gouging that we see in today's gaming industry. The original tweet actually said, "I don't love the artificiality of pricing structures post-retail. Use the inflated base price to upsell a subscription and use vague content promises to inflate ultimate editions to make the base price look better. It all seems a bit dangerous and disconnected from the community." I think that games should be...
I don't actually even agree with this. Again, this early access is the actual price point of the game, okay? Everyone does early access. And everyone gets shit on for doing early access. A company, if they made no money from the early access, or it was minuscule, they would choose to not get shit on by the whole community and save a little bit of their PR that doesn't even matter at this point by not selling this. But the reality is, most people are buying the early access for most games. Again, Diablo 4 is the great example. I think easily 80+% of the people who wanted to play Diablo 4 at launch bought the early access edition. I stayed off for 2 days and then I bought it. Yeah. Because the hype was too big. I wanted to play. Weakness, I know. But this is how it works. This is the real price.
It all seems a bit dangerous and disconnected from the community.
Admittedly, I typically don't buy early access or a golden edition fucking shit for anything, because it's never worth the value in my opinion. But, you know, a lot of people do. A lot of people do. Listen, again, 3 days early access. Miss out on 2 days. 1 day left. Business finance fucking background. Bought it. Couldn't help myself, even though it's the most ridiculous waste of money ever, and I fully am aware of it. Okay? This shit makes money. This is the real price that most people always pay.
Community. I think that games should be priced according to its quality, breadth, and depth. I'm not against higher prices, but this arbitrary uniformity just doesn't make sense to me. It feels so unserious. I'm gonna go off for a second. Don't you guys love how every single time they like to twist things to be able to suit whatever their narrative is, and everything is always coming from the perspective of the industry and never from the perspective of the player, of the customer, the people that are actually spending money on these things to begin with? Because we are never a priority. We are never at the forefront of discussion. We are never at the forefront of their mind when they're making these decisions. And then they sit back and they wonder why games are failing and studios are closing. I don't know. How could that possibly happen? The prices for everything is going up. You're absolutely right. Now that I think about it, you know what hasn't gone up with inflation? The general quality and day one performance of video games. Even some of the best games that we've seen released over the last few years can't even hit a standardized level of quality. We are spending $60 to $70 on brand new day one video games that we have to sit there and hold the bag because the game's not even finished, because it's always the minimum viable product that's being released to us, and we have to wait for them to finish the game for us to be able to play it. But let me take a wild guess and say they're probably going to try to blame the price of things on that as well.
I would say they're probably just going to straight up ignore that.
To talk about how expensive it is to make games today, You know, my question is, why are we the ones that need to keep up with you and your spending? We didn't sign up for that. When I look around the industry, I see some of the most successful games over the last few years: Baldur's Gate 3, Black Myth Wukong, Space Marine 2. These games were made with a quarter of the budget of some of these big, flashy AAA games that nobody ended up buying in the first place. You guys are making tens of billions of dollars, the vast majority of the money that is made in this.
Yeah, this is just poor money allocation, effectively. And also, this is a complete side effect of, well, you know, it's just a complete side effect of being a publicly traded company. Because you also need to understand one thing. Okay? Oh, this is actually something new that I haven't talked about. Nice! We're learning! How neat! Okay? Finance! Love it! Okay, so this is the thing about publicly traded companies. The budget matters a lot. So people who can manipulate the budget, aka me, are very valuable in a lot of cases. Because we understand what's necessary. And one of the things that you can do as a publicly traded company, ever, almost, is lower cost production. Or spend actually less. Now, how can that be, most of you are saying? Isn't that retarded? Well, it is, but currently everything about being a publicly traded company has been dialed up to 11, and it is actually like a bubble what investors expect from gaming companies. It's really insane. But because of this, you cannot ever make a game for less money than it originally costed, okay? If you have Star Wars Outlaws costing, I think it's going to end up costing $350 million. You cannot make Star Wars Outlaws 2 cost less than $350 million. Because the moment you make these games for a less cost than previously, now the investors are, wait a minute! We can save money on this. We're saving money on this now forever. So the moment you make something for less money in a publicly traded company, the expectation now is that you somehow magically, over the years, push the development costs of gaming to literally negative and make money by making games as a statement. It is that stupid. That's why they never go down in price, because the moment you go down in price, you're going to be like, oh, no, everyone now expects us to make a game for less. But that typically doesn't happen, even though it can easily happen here. Again, all of these fucking prices are artificial. This, in my opinion, this is the reason why we actually moved to face capture, bullshit, cutscenes, and whatnot. Because they literally have nowhere to put the money and allocate it in the budget. They just don't. So they're making up all of this bullshit that costs money that shouldn't actually cost money because they have nothing better to do. Because they're never gonna try and make something cheaper, because that would mean that, we need to make everything now cheaper because now we introduce that as a possibility. So yeah, this is how it goes. This is why budgets in the government never go down. Because the moment because in the government it's actually allowed. Again, this is from experience. In the government, you can actually go below budget. And in a lot of cases, you do. In a lot of cases, you do. And it's actually real simple for almost every government branch, every government department to go under budget. But if you do, next year you're not going to get the same budget. And if shit happens and you underperform in some way, guess who's not making the bonus? But with that extra money that you afterwards spend on literally fucking bullshit, because there's always some kind of bullshit you can spend it on, you get your bonus because you have the buffer, okay? It's a system that is designed to constantly grow bigger and bigger for no reason. For no reason, just for a couple of people getting bonuses and the work being easier. That's how it works. Always like that. It's never different.
This industry is coming from microtransactions. This is not my problem. The sheer cowardice of these companies to sit by and wait for somebody else to increase prices because They know it's a game, or they think it's a game that everybody's going to buy, and it's going to be the best way to just sneak that price change in. And that is so telling, because you are...
That is also so stupid. One, we don't care who does it first. We're still gonna blame you all equally. Three. Well, 3 is number 1 and 2 put together.
pathetic, and you realize that your games wouldn't sell. Asman, thanks for unpausing. Eddie continues with, $70 is the current market rate for new AAA releases, and in fact, it was Take-Two that was among the first to raise prices from $60 to $70 back in 2020. Many are naturally wondering if Take-Two might raise prices again for GTA 6's launch. But it remains to be seen if that'll happen. Beyond updating the sticker price for games, video publishers have found other ways to be able to make more money out of players, including expensive editions, microtransactions, and battle passes, just to name a few. GTA 5, for example, has sold 205 million copies and brings in a lot of money in microtransactions in GTA Online. Early predictions have said that GTA 6 could sell 40 million copies and earn more than $3 billion in revenue during its first year alone. Ball said that GTA 6's launch this year will have mixed impact on total player hours and revenue across the gaming industry because it'll only be available on console. A PC release is expected after the console launch. However, Ball said that GTA 6 will severely cannibalize total hours and spending that would go to other video games when it launches. For its part, Ubisoft said GTA 6 is a good thing for the video game industry overall because a huge game like that may help more people turn to gaming. Some of the other areas...
Ubisoft? Shouldn't they be worried about, selling themselves off for parts so the Gilmos can actually keep themselves a little bit of a piece of the company that they ruined and made? Hilariously bad, ain't that right, kitty cat? Anyway, I'm done. This is absolute bull. This is a travesty. Anyway, that was Legendary Drops 10 out of 10. Bye!